Okay, so today we are talking about Hibiki, way to become a novelist. Um, Shōsetsuka ni Naru Hōhō. Uh, well, it's uh, it's about, I guess, you know, literature girl, I guess. But despite what the title says, I didn't. It, I mean, you do learn a bit about uh, the the publishing industry and whatnot, but it's not really about becoming a novelist. It's more about this girl who beats up anyone who gets in her way. So yeah, so the protagonist Hibiki looks like a standard book girl character, but she's actually a psychopath. Does anyone disagree with that? Or
No.
I prefer the term weaponized autism. I think it's better.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, I included some of the comments which people left on manga. That's
Mhm.
or maybe I shouldn't have named that site, but whatever. You know, for example,
Irrelevant for us.
yeah, you know, this girl is more suited to live with the Taliban apparently.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do want to talk about the comments later because the comments on Hibiki are kind of a different caliber to the usual ones you find.
yeah, yeah. I think the this manga was originally translated anonymously on
Mm.
basically 4chan. Somebody just dumped chapters there, and I can see why they would like this this type of manga.
Yeah,
So um, I would say so. The protagonist Hibiki is a first year in a high school, and on a whim basically decides that she wants to write a novel, and it turns out that she's a genius. So that's basically the plot. So you can learn some things about Japanese publishing. The first arc, which I believe is the one which you have read, Fahrenheit, is mostly about literary fiction, um, which is basically, which here in this manga and in Japan they call pure fiction, or pure literature. Sorry, they call pure literature. Um,
yeah, pure fiction. Yeah,
pure,
yeah,
pure literature, pure
Yeah.
literature, and
Not.
yeah.
but
Yeah, like yeah, I think they called it peak fiction. That's what they. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. So yeah, like roughly like the first 5 volumes cover this arc, right? From what I can tell, um, and it's like based around this like competition, the like up and comers like a competition where famous authors votes on the next like big author, right? The next I'm not quite sure how it works, but like Hibiki enters into this competition and does really well because she's a genius basically. In fact, it's not even close, right? Like she's just that good. And at the same time, you also have this thread with the literature club in high school. Like Hibiki is like 14 years old, so it's a big deal that she even like um is she 14 or 15? But it's
She's a high schooler. Doesn't really.
first year, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
first
mean
year.
it's mentioned quite often because it's a big deal to be entered into this like writing competition and get into the finals. Um, yeah, she's first year. But there's also this other talented writer who's called Rika, right? And so she's a second year. Um, but she's not as good as Hibiki, right? Like she doesn't have the natural talents, and she's also kind of like I wouldn't say like nepo baby, but she kind of is at the same time, and that's why she has that's kind of why she gets the sales. Not to say she isn't talented herself, but Hibiki is on this next level, and this is kind of what this whole first arc is about. Is basically focusing on these two characters for the most part, but mostly on Hibiki and the antics she gets up to.
Yeah, supposedly she is a genius, and she knows how to make the purest form of literature. Forget all the light novels. This is real literature.
Yeah, but actually, the arc after this one, in that one, she actually does write a light novel and win a competition right away, and it gets adapted to an anime straight. Even
But
though
but you
there's
see,
only one volume.
Habiki's light novel is the purest form of light novel. Everyone else's light novels are inferior compared to hers.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so,
well, like to be fair, she doesn't have amazing competition. It's not like she's up against anyway.
yeah. I mean, do you remember that here in the first arc, there's another character called Kayo who also joins the literature club, which both Rika and Hibiki are part of, and she writes shitty, um, basically fan fiction vampire story, and then Hibiki rewrites it, right? So
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yeah.
so
I think,
yeah,
yeah, like KO isn't that a good writer. Let's say she's not like the brightest spark. Though I think she's like a lot of people's like favorite character because she's so kind of like innocent at the same time. Like uh, and and but there's this guy. There's this tall guy in the club. He's kind of a second year. I forget his name, but there's also kind of a like side plot where like she has where they share their feelings to each other, and then they're kind of dating, but they're kind of mostly just friends, which is pretty cute. Yeah, I like a character quite a lot, but yeah, like she's very kind of taken aback by Hibiki's writing, and so she basically just like completely just like copies, and even like directly asks Hibiki to like copy, like can I like am I allowed to copy this? And so Hibiki just goes like, yeah, sure, whatever.
yeah.
Um,
And Rika then is like, but you understand that you can't actually submit that
yeah,
plagiarized work. But basically, Kaio basically does just that in the later arc.
oh,
Yeah, um, yeah. I think the guy you're talking about was called Takaya, whom
Takaya,
yeah,
Takaya.
and Hibiki.
Isn't that like treasure in? Isn't I remember? I tried to remember. No,
Duolingo.
it's a Takara, isn't it? It's a
Something.
Hitlero. It's yeah, the famous clip. It's Hitlero Takara. Uh,
Yeah,
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 sorry about that one.
yeah. Anyway, Takaya is the first victim, I think, of Hibiki's vengeance when she breaks his finger. If
Yeah,
you remember that, yeah. Though I think the moment which sold Hibiki to me was when um, so Riha is basically the president of the club of the literature club at their high school,
yes,
and she wants to assert her authority as the senpai and the president, but um, and she has two large bookshelves um, next to each other in the literature club room, and she explains that, or rather, she asks, she asks Hibiki if she understands what the difference is between the two uh, shelves is, and Hibiki in uh, her literary ways, explains that basically one of the shelves has shit in it, and the other one has the good stuff in it. Um, and but then Rika realizes that Hibiki took one book from um, the ones the shelf on which the quote unquote good ones according to Rika were, and put it with the shit books. And um, yeah, basically Rika tells Hibiki to put the book put the book back, the book back, and um, when she doesn't do it, Rika does it herself. Then Hibiki put, but then Hibiki puts the book back with the shitty books, and so on and so forth, until Rika tells Ryotaro, which is Hibiki's childhood friend, to put the book up in one of the upper rows, because Hibiki is short and can't reach it. And
Yes.
you know what you want to say what Hibiki does
I
in that
know. I
one?
know. This is
I
this is this is the best part. No, no. Hibiki basically escalates. If in doubt, escalates. Uh,
yes, and and basically tips over the whole bookshelf.
Yeah,
yeah. But like she does it with like absolutely like no regard for like Rika's standing. It's like like her bookshelves are incredibly heavy. The fact that like she just knocks it over without any thought. It's like
Well,
literally like almost killing Rika. It's
well, I mean, that's how it is when you have a character that's a bit like a Yakuza sub-story character. Yeah, they may be
exactly.
slender, but they have super strength.
yeah.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, like there's just like there's tons of these moments where like Hibiki just does something like completely like out of left field, but like that's why it's so good, okay? Because it's I say it's basically like weaponized autism in one character, like nothing. It's a kind of like it's like a level of like vitality that nobody can handle, and
Yeah.
plus like you kind of have the like shock and awe factor of the fact that like this like first year is doing all these things as well. It's like it's like what you do. It's like playing chicken, but she's going to escalate far more than you.
So
Like
the art in this manga is not that good, especially the character. I think the backgrounds are fine, but some of the character art looks a bit off.
Yeah,
Um,
and I personally didn't. I found some of the coloring to be kind of amateurish.
yeah, it's kind of like in a lot of the first few panels in a lot of the volumes, they kind of went for a different shading style, right? Where it's very not. It's like I would say it's like the equivalent of like something being painterly, but in like pencils. It's like very pencily, you could say, with the shading, um, where yeah. It's difficult to describe without like seeing a image of it, but yeah, you just you'll know like you'll know it when you see it, where you can see the pencil marks building up the shading, um, opposed to the like simpler like more like manga style. But I did quite like it does have it like it's not amazing, right? But I found it did have its charm. I think the worst thing about the characters is sometimes they make the legs a bit too thin, and the like body proportions are off. Um,
yeah. I mean,
but other than that, like it's not like for me like the worst thing you can do is make it unclear what's happening on the page. But I haven't seen a like drawing where it's like unclear what's happening, so it's not really a problem in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean the manga did go on to win 2 awards somehow. Anyway, through Hibiki's
It should.
powers. Yeah,
It should. It's great. It's great.
yeah. Um, so the manga is not completely translated. I say 60 chapters here in the slides, but it's actually 75, and I think there's 120 in total, so 3 more volumes. Um,
Mm.
yeah. So Hibiki, the protagonist, we had talked a bit about her already. So she's kind of psychopathic. Um, Generally speaking, she doesn't hit first. I think, like, I mean, to be fair, like she does end up meeting a lot of assholes. Um, in the manga, which are kind of asking her to be beaten up by her,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, yeah. But this is
Yeah.
the thing, right? Like everything is like deserved to like some degree, you know. It's like she's never like the first strike, you know. I mean, you know, it's either something like offhand, like someone says to her, which like activates, you know, the defense mechanism, or it's like somebody kind of going like someone like crossing a boundary, like maybe like touching her, and she doesn't want to be touched, or like spying on her, like asking her questions with in the case of the journalist, and then she gets like she makes a counterattack.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
She basically breaks the his camera and then stalks him into his home and then threatens to do something to to his son.
I
Uh,
think in her case, if you so much as say the wrong thing, prepare for the wrath of Hibiki.
yeah, yeah, I think like you shouldn't take this manga too seriously and expect it to be realistic too much. Well, like if you do that, then you will be disappointed. Um, because like there are literally no repercussions for Hibiki's actions,
Yeah,
violent actions.
I mean the best way to describe it is just treat the manga the same way you do treat a Yakuza side story. It's very comical.
Yeah, but like I mean, to it like to an extent, like what repercussions would there be? I mean, like maybe she could get like arrested or like charged or something, but at the same
Yeah,
time, it like in each of the instances, it makes sense that she wouldn't be, right. Like I think they do a good job at kind of both sort of justifying her her actions, but also kind of explaining away why she isn't like like in prison basically. But you know,
yeah.
but
She's
yeah, I
Batgirl,
mean,
so it's okay.
oh yeah, absolutely, but I think, but yeah, like it's no like manga is really supposed to be like, or really kind of anything, um unless it's like non-fiction, it's supposed to be like 100% realistic. It's kind of like, it's sort of like the idea of like justice, right? So like you kind of ask yourself, like, is it just that like Hibiki is punished for her actions? And like if the comments are anything to go by, right, we're like, no, actually, like Hibiki is like totally justified, like therefore it doesn't make any sense for her to be punished,
Yeah,
you
I
know what I
mean,
mean?
it's funny because like in the last arc, the light novel arc, there's a producer, the bad guy, who's basically trying to make Hibiki into an idol, a Japanese idol. Uh, yeah. So yeah, I guess it would work. Um,
Oh yeah. I mean,
so yeah,
it's kind of like I mean, I was in her kind of like very kind of out of the blue sort of actions, like total escalation. I was reminded of Onizuka, like basically like a corporal punishment, like like sort of like 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 beating up students, but in the case of Onizuka, it's like it's all for this like this kind of like noble purpose, you could say, or like there is like a justice to it, therefore Onizuka goes unpunished, because if he was punished, that would be unjust, right?
I,
So there's
I
this kind of similar there's a similar
If
kind
they're
of
the, I mean,
dynamic with
I can't,
Hibiki.
yeah, yeah. Um,
I mean, the difference when Onizuka's case is that, to be honest, Onizuka's more likable than Hibiki. He just comes across as mean spirited.
That's true. That's true. But at the same time, it's like I think it's kind of like a matter of like opinion, right? Like, yes, like Hibiki is like a like asshole, but at the same time, it's like she doesn't really go out of her way to hurt people, right? It's generally people kind of get like she just tells the truth, right? Like Hibiki has kind of like perception where she's kind of able to tell the truth, and therefore it's all the other characters. In a way, the ball is then in the court of the other characters, right? It's like how does that character like how do they console themselves with the truth, right? Like Hibiki is kind of just a messenger in this way, um, if that makes any sense. And so like it's not really about like what Hibiki says. It's more about the character's reaction to what she says, which is then a show of their character, right? And oftentimes, what like Hibiki says, especially in the case of Rika, like she already knows what's wrong with like her work, and like Hibiki is just there to sort of break her out of her like delusion. So yeah, I'm this is all to say that I am 100% team Hibiki.
he did nothing wrong
Oh god.
basically. Um, so yeah, I mean, did you guys buy that that she's a literary genius? And
No, no, not at all.
uh,
I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
I
honest,
think
no.
it's true. There's like no evidence, right, to kind of suggest that she is, other than kind of second hands. Like all the other characters are talking about how amazing her writing is, but they don't actually show the writing. And I think it would be like impossible to show her writing, right? Because that would mean the author would have to like produce a like generation like a defining piece of like writing for inside their work. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, like yeah, I think it was treated as best as it could have been.
hmm. So let's see what else we have notes on her. So she doesn't really put much effort, but she's just better than everyone because of her talent. Um, like for example, when it comes to that competition, like there's people who are like, I'm going to kill myself if I don't win this competition. But Hibiki, she just doesn't care about it.
Yeah, yeah.
She's just better than everyone else.
I
Um,
love how in this first statements you've got a psychopath and sociopath in the same sentence. I I wouldn't. Okay, I mean, she's probably a psychopath. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
But I don't think she's exactly a sociopath because it's not like she's like saying stuff to get advantage. If that makes any sense. She's just a psychopath.
probably. Then again, I'm not too familiar with the distinction, so I'm not sure.
so I would describe her as short-tempered.
Mm.
Um, okay,
Yeah, I
let
mean, it's interesting, kind of how I mean, in yeah, she proclaims herself as the class mascot because, in her minds, she's sort of friends with everyone. If that, you know, um, which is so like her like the way she sees how friendship works and like how her relationship works with people is kind of different as well, which is something to think about maybe.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of. I mean, the kind of evidence that the author provides is more like that she's a genius writer. It's more like, well, other than the other people's reaction. So she doesn't really work hard, but she likes to read, and it mentions that she reads that about 30 books a month or something, so a book a day or whatever. We don't really see her reading though that
Yeah, I think
much.
she says something like three, like it's something like 3 to 30 a day, like a month,
Yeah.
which makes sense, like depending on the on like how good like how good the like novel is, because yeah, like yeah, I mean, I'll talk about it later, I guess, because there's this like yeah. Anyway, let's let's move on. Sorry.
Yeah, so yes, here's a bunch of comments. Why does this manga make me cheerful? The most terrible person. It's absurd how this brute could ever write something people would enjoy. Um, and the answer to why does this manga make me cheerful? This terrible person is because deep down we all wish we could be like him. And yeah,
Okay, we
what-
wish we could be even 1% like Hibiki, the absolute power and and the talents, you know.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like there's quotes in the manga as well. Like for example, the screenshot which I got. Right before my eyes is a living god, and then at, o- at other times she herself is saying, I'm not God or the I'm not the Buddha or God. I'm just Hibiki," as if like she's on the same
Hibiki
level.
is.
Uh,
all
yeah,
all other writers have perished and have vanished from history, but Hibiki remains. She is the artist.
Yes, she is the pure literature.
mhm. I mean, I guess what you would expect from a writer, because I think is the next slide about. We'll get to that slide first about pure literature.
Yeah,
So they mentioned Dazai here a lot, which we have read. Um, Mishima is another pure literature writer,
yeah,
and the award which they are, which is the first arc is about, is the Akutagawa award, which is named after Yonosuke Akutagawa, who is basically the guy who started up um, quote unquote pure literature um, in Japan. But I think what they mean by pure literature is just what in the West we just mean by literature, as opposed to genre, uh, as opposed to popular literature. So the whole background of this manga is that pure literature is in decline, um, because people are reading light novels or something, uh, I guess. And there's this editor who is trying to find some kind of genius to try to revive interest in pure literature.
mm, mm.
I
Just
guess, yeah.
yes, sorry, just a little bit on the era of like when this manga was written. I mean, it was written from like 2014 to 2019, and it's like just on like the like technology alone, it's like right at the beginning, like you have things like iPads, and the iPads being like a like novelty in like 2014, and then kind of in the middle you have like mentions of like Twitter, but like all this kind of has to factor into the number of people reading, right, like the number of people reading and writing and what they're reading as well. So like I think it does a pretty good job of capturing the problems in the publishing industry over this like over the like last decade, right? Like everyone why would you go out and buy a book necessarily when it's cheaper to just like get an ebook or something, like but yeah, I just thought I'd mention that, like because like it does kind of come up every now and again. You kind of get um like leakings in from like the real world. It's like, you know, like they ask does Hibiki have Twitter? You know, I mean, the idea of like somebody like Hibiki having Twitter is like hilarious for obvious reasons. Maybe we see that later.
No, but I mean,
um,
maybe she follows a bunch of authors that she likes on Twitter. Uh,
maybe.
yeah.
Or
Oh
or
no.
she uses it as God intended.
Well, maybe I think in Habiki's case, she probably uses Twitter just to kind of post her, well, literature and get into fights with other anons.
Mm.
Well, exactly. It's like the perfect social media for her. You know, it's like she would like she will become a like Twitter god if they let her.
Yeah, yeah. That's the new literature, Twitter, I guess. Uh, so, um, I guess my main criticism when it comes to this manga is that um, it's always the same joke. And I think for a while it also stopped, um, escalating. For example, like it was funny when, like that editor Fumi, who was like so desperately trying to find Hibiki, and she finally finds, and the first thing which they do is try to kill each other basically.
Yeah,
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 but again, it's the same thing, with Hibiki trying to kill her by throwing a bookshelf down on her. Yeah, yeah.
She like she topples another wardrobe, another bookshelf. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, to an extent, right? Like, I think the peak was Hibiki in the like doll dress, um, absolutely nailing the other author with a folding chair on the stage. That was like a peak Hibiki. It's but yeah, like the question is like is like how do you go from there? You know, like how do you I mean, they got kind of close with like the like stalking, like the like journalist, like stalking. But it wasn't really like the same in terms of like how outrageous it was. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess like I mean, like for me, that wasn't like the like totality of the manga, right? Like, because there's other stuff going on. Like, you also have the like internal psychology of the characters, like how they deal with not being the best or not being as good as they thought they were, or like reconciling their like real position as as a writer, or even if they don't want, or even if it would be best if they weren't a writer at all. um, who was that woman like right it was sort of like nearing the start of the manga, but she's like 30 years old, and she basically just like gives up writing after reading Hibiki's entry. um, she just says, well, there's like no point to be like going on. I can't get to this level, and I've like wasted like 10 years of my life. But like then she would go on um to like become like a baker and like get a like real job, quote unquote, and then like live like a better life because um being a writer wasn't the best thing for her. And Hibiki's work basically like made her aware of this. So yeah, there's like all these like little side stories and plots and stuff that sort of goes into the minds of the of all these characters. And I thought that was another kind of strength of this manga as well. It doesn't just focus on like Hibiki. It's not really all about Hibiki. It's more about her her work, right? And like what that's doing as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, um, yeah, I remember that character. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like this story is like trying to motivate people to get into writing, at least not directly anyway. Like it's
Well, yeah, yeah. Like, it's funny because half the characters. Most of the characters either don't really want to write or write because they don't really have anything better to be doing, or because they failed in some other area of their lives. Right? Like, the the writer who buys Hibiki the dress. He's kind of got this like very ugly face. She only really got into writing, into like writing a romance fiction, I believe, because she wasn't able to marry someone, and what she really wanted to do in her life was basically like get married and start a family, but she was unable to do this because of like the way she looked. So she kind of used writing as a way to compensate for this situation, you know. And then you have like Rika. I mean, there's always a question, right? Like, is Rika writing for herself, or is she writing to kind of prove to sort of like prove her worth, or because she can't really figure out if there's anything better she could be doing, you know, like she doesn't really see a direction outside of writing, and she's already invested so much of her life into writing. And then you have Hibiki, right, who doesn't really want to write. um well, she doesn't want to write, but she doesn't necessarily want to write a novel. Does she even want a job in this field, even though she's a genius in the field as well? So yeah, I wouldn't say it's like, it's definitely not a out and out exaltation of writing at all, you know.
yeah. I mean, the novel is very clear about Hibiki being abnormal. Basically, it's not
Mm.
saying go ahead and be the Hibiki you want to see or something. um, yeah, yeah. Okay. Uh, so let's have a look at some of the other characters. So we have Kayo. Yeah. So Anatomy Sad, I think. Uh,
Looks like a sack of potatoes. Oh, that's so
yeah.
mean. Oh, you're so mean.
But she does, and there are some verse shots as well. It seems like Hibiki's flatness has been like retroactively. I don't know how do you say to correct it. The author has gone too far with some other characters. So unlike Rika, Kayo is like she's more into light novel trash like us, basically.
Yes.
Um, and because of that, she doesn't have a complex towards Hibiki. Um, she just finds it fun to write sometimes. But yeah, I don't think she even tries to be a pro at all. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, like her motivation is she just likes writing and she just likes reading, so she joined the club. Yeah.
yeah, but so at the start, she's like she wants to join the literature club, but basically her mind has been rotten by reading too many light novels and watching too much high school anime, and she just expects like people to be overly eager for her to join and whatnot. Um,
Eh?
and
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's mentioned that she has trouble with her own creativity, right? So she kind of just keeps recreating forms that already exist. You know, she makes the like vampire like romance, but doesn't, you know, but it's kind of unable to put her own spin on it.
Well,
yeah,
I mean, I've got good news for her. She can work for Type Moon, and it would be perfect.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you're like, there's this like big difference, right, between like what can be like commercially successful, and what's like critically acclaimed, right? Like uh, so yeah, like maybe like a KO can make something that's like financially successful because she's able, you know, because she doesn't really want to put her own stuff in there. She's like, maybe she just gets good at like recreating forms
yeah,
over and over again,
but
and that's what people want. you know.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Hibiki ends up, getting the light novel as well. So, yeah,
That's true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, Hibiki is just a god. Therefore, she wins everything, and totally dominates, and also mentally dominates everyone at all times.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I guess Kayo at the start she was trying to like reinvent herself because she was unpopular in middle school or whatever, and at the start basically there's not enough members in the literature club because because Hibiki kicked out all of the members that were there, just who were using it as a hangout. They were invited by Rika because she couldn't find anyone else, and Hibiki kicked them out. Um, and so they were trying to get Kayo to join, and basically Hibiki says some bullshit to make Kayo feel like um, she's the main character, um, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what makes Kaio join the club. And then later on, Ryotaro, who is Hibiki's childhood friend, asks her if that was bullshit, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think she elicits the imagery of the setting sun, and so
something,
just as the sun sets, you belong in a literature club or something
yeah,
like that,
yeah,"
and
which
this
doesn't really
manages
make any
to
sense. Yeah, which
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
really,
yeah. It
yeah,
doesn't make any sense, but she's able to kind of influence KO to join the club.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think she basically turns off the lights in the library while
she does,
everybody
yeah, yeah.
everyone is
She
there,
turns off the
and
lights.
um, yeah. Okay. So the next character is Rika Sobe, who is the daughter of the most popular literary author in Japan at that time. Um, she's a gyaru, which means how do I explain a gyaru? So I guess those girls who try to be. It's a certain Japanese fashion, and there's a bunch of anime about gyaru girls as well. But anyway, and they're usually portrayed as very superficial and whatnot, which I guess the author was trying to draw some kind of contrast with her character because she's actually smart. She's not actually an idiot. So um, she has daddy issues because her dad doesn't pay attention to her literary ambitions, basically, and she's the same. At the start, she's a second year and the president of the literature club. Later on, Kayo becomes the uh, president when she becomes a third year. She's half Finnish, as in her mother is from Finland, and she can't surpass Hibiki. Uh, Although
Yeah, yeah,
there's a nice moment later on when because basically at first she tries too hard and writes a shit novel, and basically Hibiki calls her out for that. Um,
yeah. She I think it was called the tower in 4 seasons or something like that. Yeah, but like the plots and the characters and the number of characters just totally changes after all the rewrites until it just becomes unrecognizable and it's not really. And she sort of like she loses track of what she was writing about in the first place. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was supposed to be like set in a single day in some kind of strange country.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and
and
but
then yeah, but with like multiple characters, and then it turns into this like single character story across the course of 4 seasons, which is just totally different from the original plan, and that kind of hurts the story.
yeah,
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but
yeah, yeah,
it's kind of like
yeah,
or but like the question is, but like then Hibiki basically asks her, well, is this just an excuse, right? Like for you like being bad, basically. Like, is it really like rewrites that like mean this like story is bad, or is it are you just like offsetting the blame to
To the editor,
your yeah, to your
because the
editor?
editor, because it was the editor who suggested to make it to make those
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah,
And
I mean, okay, I do have a question, right? So Rika's mum basically looks exactly like her. Now, because Rika is a Gyaru girl, is Rika's Finnish mum? Did
dark
she
skinned,
also
or
emigrate and like transform into a like Gyaru
yeah,
girl herself? You know what I mean? Like, I just like this image of like this like northern like European woman like making herself darker.
yeah. There's
Anyway,
no explanation. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, because at first I assumed that she was darker skinned because she was a Gyaru, and Gyaru girls like to tan themselves. So I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe
she's just. I guess she's just very tanned. Like, yeah, maybe.
Either tanned or very, very badly sunburned.
um yeah, yeah. And at least so as I said, only 9 volumes are translated, and at least until then, there has not been like um
Hmm.
a resolution to the situation between Rika and her father.
Oh, interesting.
Uh,
So what? There's just volumes that have been untranslated, but they're
there's 3 volumes, I think, that are translated.
interesting.
Yeah.
That I mean, fellas, maybe we just spend the time anyway. Maybe when I get some free time, I will take the time to translate the last three. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Obviously badly, but
the car,
anyway, I'm
the current,
sure.
yeah, the current translation,
People will appreciate it anyway.
yeah, the current translation rate is like three chapters a year or something. So,
Yeah,
pretty good.
maybe it's as difficult to translate for some reason. I don't know. I don't think so. There is like something I did notice is that like it, it is like relatively dialogue heavy. This manga like and compared to others. So that might also be a reason for the slow translation. I guess also the like lack of like popularity. Who knows? Who knows?
So next we have Ryota, who is the childhood friend of Hibiki. He has some interesting room decorations. Um, I think he might beat you as Hibiki's biggest fan, probably Fahrenheit. Uh,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so he wanted Hibiki to live a normal life with him, away from this little very violent shenanigans. Um, and Rika's father calls him creepy. Uh, basically, calls him a creep. Um, because basically she kind of had um why do you think Fahrenheit, why do you think that he calls Ryota you know?
Mm, mm. It's a mystery. It might have been something to do with the like 5-year plan he has in regards to Hibiki, where where he like pinpoints the year in which they're gonna have sex for the first time, the year in which like they have their first kiss. There were you know and then he also has a like plan for like what their lifestyle is going to look like after high school as well. So yeah, he's got it all planned out. So that might have been it.
Yeah, he's a man with a
It
plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
though. Yeah, I mean. I think like Rika's dad is just lucky he didn't witness his bedroom. Um, yeah. So I mean, the first thing you see is like, I mean, like, how do you like? It's pretty much just a like stalker's room. Every single wall, including the windows, have photographs of a Hibiki, including like foot pics, pics of like Hibiki being like 8 years old. The first scene with like Aruta in his bedroom, he like kisses a photograph of like 8 year old Hibiki, which is somewhat creepy. Um, but the best thing about this whole thing is Hibiki knows about this and doesn't give a fuck.
I know. That was
Biggie's
another
just
base
like,
Hibiki
well,
moment.
I'm a god. I don't really care.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
activities of mortals.
yeah. That was another base Hibiki moment. Yeah, and yeah. Do you think that Hibiki likes him at all?
um, you do get glimpses sometimes. She did like flirt with him a little bit in the club, kind of in the beginning. Then, like after she's done stalking the journalists, she finds out that's like Aruta was stalking her. So it's kind of like a like chain of stalkers, stalking a stalker. And then but like in that moment, like Aruta gives her like his scarf, and then they share a scarf, which is kind of like sweet. But apart from those like glimpses, like a Hibiki basically just like harms him whenever whenever he like calls her cute. So yeah, she's not exactly totally accepting of his advances. But maybe you
Yeah,
know
and yeah,
who
and
knows.
I mean, I guess he's a
They
weird,
ain't
weird.
right, those two.
Yeah,
Though
he's a
in a weird way, like they do match each other's energy. Like
yeah, they do. Yeah, like I mean, he has this 5-year plan, but obviously it's not going to work because they're both not normal. Uh, like
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
um,
who knows? It depends what Ryuta is willing to do. Is he willing to escalate? This is the question.
yeah. I mean, so far he has been pretty passive, to be honest, other than stalking her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like when people talk about Ryuta, they say, I mean, this guy's kind of like a like creepy psycho, but at least he's unpredictable, and his like pathology is like relatively stable. So he's probably okay.
yeah. I mean, he's pretty popular as well in the school, apparently, which
Yeah.
lead to people asking him what exactly he likes about Hibiki. Um, who is this short literature girl, and he's not even interested in literature anyway.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because he doesn't really ever give a reason. He just is interested in he just is like obsessed with her for
Yeah,
like yeah. But yeah, so like you have all these girls like sort of trying to like date him, like coming onto him, writing him letters to like talk in private, and then he just rejects them all. Um, because his just his Hibiki maxing.
okay. Next we have the. I guess before that, I guess one of the problems which I had was that, like you mentioned that story about that author who like gives up writing and whatnot. Um,
Hmm.
and like, so, and basically there's a bunch of text boxes which say like what happens to the in the rest of her life. She gets married, has kids, and then dies at 82 or something. Um, like I kind of felt like I didn't care that much because they were not really main characters.
No,
Um,
no.
yeah. Whereas when it comes to a main character like Ryota, he doesn't really do much of anything. Um, I don't know. I kind of felt a bit like that. Um, so next we have the editor, because like after that scene, you know, where we get to see like Vice Creep and whatnot. Um, Nothing really happens there anymore between them. It just the status quo just remains there. So next
Yeah.
we have the editor Hanai Fumi. So she literally Fumi literally picks up Hibiki's manuscript from the trash, the manuscript for Hibiki's novel from the trash, because Hibiki can't be bothered to like follow things like rules and submit her manuscript for the competition through the internet, and they don't accept manuscripts basically written by hand. um and
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, yeah. Plus, like, Vicky also doesn't even write her like address. So Afumi doesn't even know that like Hibiki is like a real name. It could be a fake name as well. So yeah.
yeah. um so she's only Fumi is only 26 years old, and uh she wants I guess a revolution in the um uh, what was it called, the pure literature industry. um are you typing Fahrenheit?
I am, yeah.
Okay. So um there's this whole thing where like Fumi tries to find out uh, 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 Hibiki's identity, and when they finally meet, they get into a fight, as I said. um and in during that fight, Hibiki they basically get into an argument where like Hibiki says that so the reason why Fumi is there at all is to collect an article or something which Rika's father wrote, and um, so Hibiki is in Rika's father's room, and the reason why she's there is because she came to Rika's home, which is a mansion, along with the other literature club members, just to spend a day off or something like that. And you know, uh, Rika tells he became to turn a left or right or whatever to go into the toilet, and Hibiki obviously goes in the opposite direction so that she can see an author's what an author's room looks like where he writes. Um, Obviously, Fumi is not happy about this stranger being in um, this author's room, so they get into a fight. And but basically, the important thing there is that Hibiki accuses Fumi of believing um, that editors are also creators. That's what she actually thinks. Do you guys have anything to say about Fumi?
Um,
Uh, to be honest, although I didn't read much of the manga, she didn't give me much of an impression other than, oh, she likes this author, and despite the fact that the said author didn't publish the based on the guidelines, let's give her a
yeah,
chance.
yeah. I
It's
mean, yeah. Right. Like, you don't really get that much of her, especially at the beginning. But there is this lol. There is this dynamic where like Fumi is young and so still has that like optimistic energy that her like older contemporaries don't really have. So she kind of goes to great pains to actually get like Hibiki entered into the competition. She's breaking procedure, and she does go out of her way to find Hibiki eventually. Gets into a fight with Hibiki, but like the whole like subtext, I guess, is that she really does this because of her youth, right? Because she's kind of able to. She's not like totally jaded, so she still kind of has the like patience and energy to actually like do these things. So it's quite lucky that she's there in that in the position she's in, and then later she kind of becomes like this like mentor for Hibiki. She tries her best to
Hard
kind of
driver, I
hone her
guess.
in, yeah, to sort of like dial her back, and fails dramatically every time because there is no controlling Hibiki. Um,
Yeah, I think the glorious moment is at the award ceremony when, like, she does everything. Like, she takes them to Disneyland, um, and but it, it still fails, and at the end, she ends up punching a reporter as well. Uh, yeah, yeah, but as you said, like, at the start, there's this scene where, like, she's saying something like, things are going so bad, it must mean that something big is right, must be right around the corner, and obviously her older co-workers don't believe that. So um, so we already talked about pure literature, but I guess what it is, um, from the ones which I've read, is it's like social realism kind of stuff. So stuff which is realistic, not necessarily artsy, but also, um, yeah, that's about it. And most of the pure literature is no older than the 20th century. Like, when we talk about Japanese literature, really, I mean, like, people talk about Genji Monogatari, like, which is the first novel in history or something in Japan. But really, um, there's not that much before the 20th and 19th century. Like, most of the authors um, which they name drop, basically come from those centuries. So it's not like pure literature is this ancient thing, um,
no,
at all. Yeah. So, um,
yeah, I mean, like the like novel itself, like was sort of yeah, like it came from the West, right, and was imported into Japan. So like, yeah, it makes sense that it would appear around the like very late 1800s, but mostly over the 20th century, right? Like it's not like a like enduring like native like Japanese tradition, but it is something that's like valuable in its own way, and
yeah,
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 it makes sense that they will want to keep it alive.
yeah. I mean, when you look at the most popular, I mean, there's no. I don't think there is any photographs of Charles Dickens, for example, right?
No,
Or any all the popular, the people who got English literature going, right? So, but
well,
here's a,
there's like portraits. That's about it.
yeah, but when it comes to the guy who got pure literature started, Akutagawa, he has a photo, that I put in the slides,
Yeah,
so you can see that it comes from a period later. So, then that. So let's see. Um, so yeah, the light novel arc, which you guys have not read. So the guy in the glasses
touch.
there, he is the bad guy. He just gets off with so. Okay, here's a summary of what happens. So Kaio submits Hibiki's vampire story manuscript for a light novel competition and wins, obviously. And it's on the way to becoming an anime. And the producer, the glasses guy here, he wants to make a documentary about Hibiki and turn Hibiki into an idol. Um, and the reason why he wants to do that is because he thinks that with Hibiki he can make an anime which airs in the golden hour, which is apparently difficult to make an anime for that. Uh, it's when most people watch TV. So Hibiki obviously, so in order to make the documentary, he can't get permission from her because she obviously doesn't want it. So he ends up secretly filming Hibiki, and obviously Hibiki chooses violence. But for once, this guy actually hits Hibiki as well. So, and he gets off relatively scot free. Like he he gets a pay cut and suspended for a month, but that's it. Yeah, basically Hibiki. So they're basically making a reality show kind of thing, a pre-recorded reality show kind of thing, um, about Hibiki, and Hibiki storms in, threatens to um, kill the director of the TV station with a pen. Like she holds a pen to
Yeah,
his
yeah.
neck, and then yeah, that's basically what happens. Uh, so that's all I have about Hibiki. Do you guys have any other thoughts?
I think I've said everything, right?
Yeah, to me, I don't know. Habiki wasn't didn't leave me much. Well, even though I only read 10 chapters, it didn't leave me so much of an impression. It's entertaining, but I wouldn't really. It's not something that I would be too interested in, honestly.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think it's like either you like really take to Hibiki, or or you don't. She just like carry the manga pretty hard. But
Uh, I mean,
um,
well, it depends on if I guess it all depends on if you like Habiki or not. Me personally, nope. She's not too
yeah, I
interesting.
guess I mean it's interesting because like you'll meet people like a little bit like Hibiki, that kind of like that like bookish personality that maybe a little bit like Asperger's-y, but yeah, it's definitely a like enduring archetype. You know, I think for anyone who's like gone to high school, you find these people. But yeah, it's very but yeah, Hibiki is I don't know, very likable. I found to be somewhat believable. Obviously, all the stalking and assaults and major escalation attempts, not so realistic, but very entertaining either way, and maybe something that's secretly we all wish we could do. but but yeah, it was great. I liked it. I guess maybe like I give a rating. I wish there was like it went a bit deeper in some places, especially like certain characters, as we talked about. I think this is like a good like 8 out of 10. Sort of shortish manga. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I was in high school as well when I read this, and I kind of found the whole literature club thing kind of attractive, um, even though like it didn't play a big role because there's only so many things you can do in a literature club here. We see them writing some stories, and
Yeah.
that was fun. Um, and I mean, my other story, Fahrenheit. You can see some of the inspiration I took from this story. Like, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, in the literature club story which I wrote.
It all makes sense now. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that was basically Hibiki. I think I was more receptive to Hibiki's character back then when I was more her age, but I still like it, and I'm most likely going to read the whole manga as it comes out, basically. over the years, or if I learned
Yeah.
Japanese before that.
When in like in the 2030 when it's finally all translated, we'll come back and do a follow up, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. This I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. So yeah, it was fun. I would a rating. I think it still lacks an ending. I think that's the biggest problem I have. But what we have so far, I think it's 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. As Fahrenheit said, basically it depends on how much you feel that Hibiki is justified in what she's doing. So yeah, uh, yeah. I guess I'll end the recording. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone listening. If you have indeed listened for the whole like hour 10 minutes, yeah.
Okay.
See you later.
Yep.